I still remember the moment I discovered the real power of words, not as decoration, not as manipulation, but as a force. It wasn't about charming phrases or calculated flattery. It was about what radiated beneath them. A well-placed sentence, spoken without fear, could spark curiosity, stir something hidden, even awaken a desire the other person didn't know they had. That's when I finally understood what Carl Jung meant, that attraction doesn't begin with appearances. It begins deep in the unconscious, where emotions are raw, unfiltered, and real. There was a woman in my circle, not cold, not arrogant, just unreachable. She had heard it all, compliments about her looks, her laugh, her style. They rolled off her like rain on marble. Men chased her with the same borrowed charm, and she always met them with the same unreadable smile. But with me, it was different. I didn't try to impress her. I didn't rehearse my words or plan my next move. I spoke without needing to be liked, and somehow, that's what caught her attention. Most people crave approval. They perform for validation. But the truth is brutal. The more you chase acceptance, the less desirable you seem. And the moment you stop needing it, that's when others lean in. She wasn't used to that. Not to silence where praise usually filled the space, not to curiosity where eagerness usually lived. There was something unfamiliar in my presence, not threat, not flirtation, but clarity. Then, when the tension hung just long enough, I said something I hadn't planned, something that wasn't really a compliment at all. "You're not what I expected. You're something more." It landed like a question disguised as praise. Not putting her above anyone, not handing her certainty. It made her pause, rethink. Wonder what I really saw when I looked at her? That's when I saw it. Her entire expression shifted, not because I gave her something, but because I withheld just enough to make her want to find it. Carl Jung once said that when we feel an intense pull towards someone, it's often not them we're seeing, but a hidden part of ourselves. In that moment, she wasn't just looking at me. She was confronting her own animus, the silent masculine force within her unconscious. I hadn't flattered her. I hadn't even tried to be noticed. But something I said, something in my silence, pierced the polished surface she showed the world. And suddenly she was no longer sure of the image she saw in the mirror. Days passed. I didn't chase her. I didn't escalate. But the energy between us shifted. She was still composed, still poised. But something had changed. The dynamic was no longer one-sided. I had unknowingly introduced an element she wasn't used to, uncertainty. And that uncertainty made her curious. Mystery is a currency more powerful than beauty. It lingers. It haunts. We're drawn to what we can't name, to what makes us question. She, who was so accustomed to predictable admiration, now found herself in unfamiliar territory. She couldn't read me, couldn't place me, and that, more than any praise, pulled her in. The secret behind what I call the forbidden compliment is simple. It resists definition. It doesn't trap someone inside a label they've heard 1,000 times. It invites them to wonder, to unravel. "You have a darkness that's interesting." That wasn't a compliment. It was a mirror she hadn't seen before, a puzzle without instructions. And in a world addicted to quick answers and shallow validation, that kind of enigma is rare and unforgettable. She had spent years being the center of hollow attention. But this was different. This wasn't about being seen, it was about being understood, even if just barely. And that difference was everything. It happened unexpectedly, in the middle of a simple, casual conversation. She shared a story from her past, not a highlight, but a moment of regret, a decision that left a scar she hadn't fully forgiven herself for. Most men, almost by instinct, would have rushed to comfort her. "It's okay, we all make mistakes." But I didn't say that. I didn't try to erase it or smooth it over. I did something else. I saw it. Carl Jung wrote that each of us carries a shadow, the parts of ourselves we exile, deny, or fear others will see. But real connection doesn't happen in the light. It happens when shadows recognize each other and don't flinch. I didn't offer her a polished compliment. I didn't try to lift her back into the safety of who she pretended to be. Instead, I let her know, I see you, the whole of you, not just the admired, composed version, but the one who's been hurt, the one who's made mistakes, the one who still carries that pain. And I didn't say it made her weak. I said it made her real. Her reaction was immediate, not the smile you give when someone calls you beautiful. It was something deeper, a pause, a shift. As if, for the first time, someone had spoken to the part of her that usually stays hidden. That's what makes this kind of compliment powerful. It's not praise, it's recognition. It reflects her shadow back to her without judgment. And in doing so, it makes her wonder, who is this man that can see this part of me and not turn away? You're telling her, without needing to say it outright, that you accept all of her, even the broken, messy parts, especially those. And when someone feels truly seen, beyond the image they show the world, the connection that forms goes beyond charm, beyond logic, beyond words. From that moment on, something changed. Our conversations grew roots. No masks, no scripts, just truth. I didn't want anything from her. I wasn't trying to win her. I just liked her energy. And that's exactly where most men fail. They seek approval. They try too hard, and she knows it. She's seen it 1,000 times. But when someone tells her sincerely that they don't need her, that her presence is valuable but not essential, something shifts in her mind. Jung spoke about the process of individuation, the path to authenticity. A man who has warped that path does not seek validation, and a woman feels it. When I said that, I didn't do it as a mind game. It was the truth, and truth is magnetic. From that moment, the dynamic shifted. Her body language changed. In her gaze, there was no longer superiority, but an unanswered question. The absence of need is attractive because it signals self-sufficiency. And self-sufficiency is one of the most powerful qualities someone can project. It's not about playing indifferent. It's about genuinely being someone who has a complete life without depending on external approval. Desire doesn't arise from absolute certainty, but from uncertainty, from not knowing what will happen next. And in that uncertainty, the most intense connections are built. These three compliments are not just words. They work because they appeal to deep parts of the unconscious, as Carl Jung explained. They spark curiosity, acknowledge the shadow, and project self-sufficiency. Three aspects that create genuine attraction. In a world where many seek constant validation, those who understand the power of words and human psychology stand out. It's not about manipulation, but about connecting on a deeper level. If you understand this, you will stop chasing and start attracting. What do you think? Have you ever experienced the power of words in your interactions? Have you noticed how certain phrases can shift the entire dynamic? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your experiences, and if you found this insight valuable, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. There's so much more to uncover about human psychology, attraction, and the depth of Carl Jung's teachings. See you in the next video.